to some degree on difficulty of establishing economic independence, right? Because in richer countries, it's easier to have enough economic independence if you're a male to be a useful participant in the process of having children. But it doesn't matter. Cross-culturally, it's still a cross and up, where men mate across and down. They don't care much about socioeconomic status.
Men don't care.
To be part
Women
of their
do.
Selection method.
Women,
generally speaking.
cross up. Men, cross down.
So.
Hola mi gente, hey guys, welcome to my channel Phlava. The flavor today is Jordan Peterson in How Women Select Men, Natural Selection. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for any future videos. So, without any further ado, let's take a look at Jordan Peterson in How Women Select Men, Natural Selection.
And so what the females seem to be doing is using some marker or some set of markers as a proxy indicator for health. And I think you could say reasonably that female human beings do the same thing to male human beings. And there's some of that vice versa too. Like we evaluate each other, for example, for symmetry, which is one of the elements of beauty. Right? Because healthier people tend to be more symmetrical, and lots of animals use symmetry. Butterflies, if butterflies won't mate with another butterfly if it deviates from symmetry by the tiniest amounts you can imagine. So symmetry is a marker, and there's other markers like shoulder width to waist width is one, and waist width to hip width is another. That's usually what males use that to evaluate females.
Childbearing, right?
So there's lots of markers of health.
Heard about that.
But it also looks to me like the data worldwide seems to indicate that women, so imagine that women mate across dominance hierarchies and up, socioeconomically speaking. And on average, across cultures, women go for men who are about 4 to 5 years older. You know, it varies. In the Scandinavian countries, that's shrunk a little bit, but not that much. And in other cultures, it's bigger. I would say that depends to some degree on difficulty of establishing economic independence. Right, because in richer countries, it's easier to have enough economic independence if you're a male to be a useful participant in the process of having children. But it doesn't matter. Cross-culturally, it's still a cross and up, where men mate across and down. They don't care much about socioeconomic status.
Men don't care.
To be part of their selection method.
Women,
generally speaking.
Cross up. Men, cross down.
So I think that part of that is also the ability of women to select for male health. It's something like that, because it isn't only that. Because if you're healthy and energetic, you're much more likely to be successful, because it's very hard to be successful if you're ill, obviously.
Right.
So, because the competition is just too high. And both genders, both sexes select each other for attractiveness, both select for intelligence, both select for personality.
Attractiveness, intelligence.
There are differences there in terms of what's stressed.
Personality, you should focus on that.
So I think you can derive a couple of things out of this, and this is where I think people are different than other animals. Importantly different is that, so you imagine that there's tremendous selection pressure towards the production, let's say, of men who are good at climbing male dominance hierarchies, or climbing the male dominance hierarchy. But the thing that's so interesting about people is that we've multiplied our dominance hierarchies. You know, if you take an animal that's got a rather static behavioral pattern, then there's a single hierarchy. Elephant seals are a good example of that. So elephant seals, the males are absolutely massive. They're way, way bigger than the females. And they basically have harems, roughly speaking.
Harems.
And they use
male
physical
elephants.
prowess as their marker of status, essentially. And obviously size is a huge part of that, because otherwise the male elephant seals wouldn't be as... They're massive, these things. They're absolutely enormous. And so it's just power / health, you know, maybe aggression, something like that. It's whatever makes them more suitable for the kind of physical combat that elephant seals engage in. So, and the degree to which power is associated with dominance status in those sorts of situations seems to be associated with the size differential between males and females. So the more power is an issue with regards to male competence, the larger the males are compared to the females, and the more likely the males are going to have a harem relationship with the
bigger
females.
the males,
and you see that a little bit in human
the
beings, because men are bigger than women. They're not overwhelmingly bigger, that's sexual dimorphism. And you know, there's some men that are smaller than some women, but on average men are taller and they have more upper body strength and so forth. So there is a power element to male competition, but it's not as extended as it would be among animals, say like elephant seals. So in the elephant seal, you see maybe there's one stable set of traits that's being selected that makes the males more likely to reproduce. But human beings, we're very weird creatures because we're so conceptually flexible. And so what seems to have happened, maybe males started selecting each other for in dominance competitions for something like cognitive flexibility and conscientiousness. It's something like that. So that would be the ability to abstractly represent the world, and then the ability to operate effectively within it, to represent yourself socially in a way, and then to carry through with that, because that enables people to trust you. Okay. So it's something like that. Through. And so that produced cortical expansion, and then women were selecting men who were good at that, and that produced cortical expansion, and then...
You know, so essentially you talked about symmetry on an aesthetic level. Women, socioeconomic, same, higher. Men, socioeconomic, same, lower. That's what we're drawn to. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing right there. He also did talk about the shoulders on the physical aspect, and you know, from shoulders to hips, and so on and so forth. But he mentioned something there at the end on a conscientious level in regards to, you know, it's not so much what the male believes in and what the male is interested in. You know, whether they're interested in a corporate dominant world, right, and getting to the high ends of that, executive wise, or they're interested artistically, singing wise, acting wise, painting wise, what have you. The females, I think in regards to what he's speaking, is they're just interested in how do you dominate within that world you're in. So if it's in the artistic world, if it's in acting, singing, painting, how are you dominant in that world? You know, to what level have you accomplished? And then to them, that represents stability. So it's not so much what world you're in, but how do you dominate in that world? That is the attractiveness from those females to males. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Jordan Peterson, How Women Select Men. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for any future videos. Until next time, deuces.
Won't you rub your fingers?